Resident Evil Requiem is a great game, and I'd put it into the top 5 best Resident Evil games. But there's some problems and things that could have been done way better. For example, the combat. The combat in Resident Evil Requiem is incredible and can make someone with even erectile dysfunction get hard. But there's some problems and stuff that really pisses me off. So the first annoying thing is when you parry an attack, you can use the hatchet to execute them in a bunch of awesome animations. But the issue is you can't kick them or do any melee moves, which is really stupid. Like, just look at this. Being able to get an enemy near a wall and then parrying them and then doing a wall execution is just amazing. And not only that, but being able to kick the enemy to push them to other enemies, or just having the freedom to kick, would have made the combat so much better. And if you don't want to kick, you can just do the hatchet execution. And about that, they should have had it for other stagger animations. Like if you stagger a zombie, it would have been so cool to do a hatchet execution. And if you don't want to, you can just do the regular kick. It doesn't even make the combat too easy either. It just improves the gameplay. And another thing that's missing from the combat is ground finishers. On one specific enemy type, there's an execution move where Leon uses his hatchet to kill the zombie when it falls down. But it's only possible to do that on that single enemy type, which makes no sense at all. In my opinion, they should have had a stomp move for the base zombies and the hatchet animation for the specific enemy type. Or better yet, they could have had both. Another thing that would have been awesome is for more environmental moves. Like here, Leon could have slammed that zombie's head against the surface. Leon can do this with some cars, but it's really hard to position, and it's only for the cars. I want to also make a mention of Resident Evil 4 Remake. The gameplay in Resident Evil 4 Remake is honestly way better than Resident Evil 9. And if you look at polls and other videos, most people agree that Resident Evil 4 Remake has better combat. And I'm going to explain to you why Resident Evil 4 Remake has better gameplay. First, it has a better gameplay system. Animations are more fluid, the zombies' hit reactions are better, and it's just designed in a better way than Resident Evil 9. 2, there's way more combat freedom. Like when you shoot an enemy in the leg, 2 things can happen. First, they either stagger, and you can do a bunch of moves. Like you can kick them, there's multiple kick animations, or you can stab them, or you can get behind them and suplex them, or you can even stab them in the back. And the other thing that can happen when you shoot them in the leg is they can fall down and you can do a ground execution with the knife. 4, consistency. When you get grabbed by an enemy in Resident Evil 4 Remake, you know just to break out, then throw them, and then stab them. But in Resident Evil 9, you can't do shit melee-wise. You can shoot them, but that's pretty fucking lame, and you can just get grabbed again by some other zombies, so it kind of sucks. I think Capcom should have used some more things from Resident Evil 4 Remake. Like, not all of them, but I think the ability to use either the hatchet or the melee would have been great instead of locking it down to just one. Another dope thing that would have made the combat much better is unique animations. The shotgun, snipers, assault rifles, and the SMGs all use the same execution animation, and there's nothing wrong with the reuse, but it would have been so awesome to have different animations for all of the guns. And it would have been really cool if they had their own unique animations for if you were behind an enemy. Like, instead of using the hatchet for stealth kills, imagine how cool it would have been if you could have used like any other gun. Another cool thing would have been if you could like pick up like the pipe that zombies drop and run around with them. Or you could grab it and either swing it at an enemy or grab it and throw it at an enemy. Both of the animations are already in the game too. And I'm gonna stretch the combat like a bussy in a Pay-Gorn video. I think we should have had the knife from Resident Evil 4 Remake. I know, a bunch of you are already thinking I'm ruining the combat or changing it up too much, but when you think about it, it doesn't break the lore or the story or anything. And it would have been sick as hell if the knife had its own playstyle and its own animations and everything, to where it's just faster than the hatchet, but it does less damage, to where it's also balanced. The knife could have been used the same way as it is in RE4 Remake, where you shoot an enemy in the leg and you can use it to stab them in a bunch of ways, and it could have had its own parry type. Like, think about it like this, where there's pros and cons to each one. Like the hatchet has more durability and it does more damage, and when you parry an attack, the enemy gets staggered for longer. But its cons are that it's slower and it takes long to kill someone, and when you're grabbed, it takes Leon longer to pull out the hatchet to break free, which causes you to lose more health versus if you had used the knife, which would have still caused you to take damage, but it would have been less damage. And that brings me to the pros and cons of using the knife. Its pros are that it's faster, swinging it is faster, parrying with it is faster, and doing the stab animations with it faster, and you can break free faster. Its cons are that it's got less durability, it does less damage, and staggers don't last as long. So you gotta pick whichever one you want, and I think it would have just been great, and it would have been cool being able to mix them up. And it wouldn't have even been too hard for Capcom. They could have just reused the same animations from Resident Evil 4 Remake since they already look great. I think I'm going to cap it off here. My bad if I sounded like I was being too harsh to Resident Evil 9. I still love the game, and the combat is better than Resident Evil 4 Remake in some ways, like how you can do cool finishers. But anyways, what do you guys think? How do you think Resident Evil 9 could have been improved? Should I make another video where I talk about other parts of the game, like Grace's sections, or Grace's gameplay, or the story, or the bosses, or more enemy types, or some cool sections that I think could have been implemented? Anyways, that's about it. Don't do drugs, and see ya.